Hey everyone, welcome to the Sacred Synthesis and to this newest offering that is all about featuring our members. We really think it is so important that everyone get a better pulse on who is in the community, what folks are moving through, their challenges, their celebrations, their devotion to their evolution and connection with something beyond our egoic perspectives, our egoic lives, which is so easy to slip into, and want to just bring forward special members to celebrate. So I'm very honored to welcome Bryn Crawford, who is going to be our very first featured member. Hello, Bryn. How you doing?
Good day. Good day.
Yeah, it is a good day. And, I will just say, if you don't mind, Bryn, I can share the moment I first met you and saw you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was about a year ago, I think, right around this time,
Yes,
or yeah, right
exactly.
around this time actually,
Yeah.
where it was one of the Jaguar Light Wand ceremonies, the monthly ceremonies. You and your husband came to this ceremony, and I just remember a very specific moment, like walking up to you two, like in the corner of the space, just saying hello. And obviously, I'm like energetically attuned. And I just felt this beautiful, like radiance, but like deep, deep sorrow coming from your field. And I'm never trying to project into people or really like, let me figure out what's going on here, but rather just allow it to reveal itself. And I just kept thinking, like, what as the ceremony concluded and we were having a beautiful integration circle, you and your beloved shared a little bit about what was going on, and it all made such sense to me. And I've had the honor of witnessing you in a multitude of ways over the last year, being in true devotion to exploring, to understanding, to healing, to finding what I see is like this new version of you. And would just love to know, like, from your own words, like, who is like, before the church, before coming in and working with these sacraments and being in this community, um what was your story? What was going on with you?
Sorry, I just had like a little hummingbird just fly outside my window.
Ah, perfect.
Oh, hello.
That whole swirl is like so shiny. It's like hummingbird.
Hey. Um, okay, so my story before was I'm a mom. And at that point, my children are currently my children are 16 and 14. I have a son and a daughter. Um, and my husband worked for the railroad, and we moved all over the country with our children. Um, and just I believe strongly in manifesting. And I had been touched by woo woo stuff in the past, but I was really into the identity of being a mom and being a sports mom. My son played baseball, and my children rodeoed and cheerleaded and volleyballed, and that was my identity and who I was, and I loved that. Um, and I just would sing to my little kids every time that we left or transitioned or hit hard things that um, like it was going to be better than we imagined. And I told them that every time we moved, and it was, it always was. And that's who I was um, before everything changed. I was very bright, very shiny, and very much full of joy beneath the chaotic, energy, crazy mom that was trying to keep everything together. So
Yeah.
incredibly, really, like authentically, I was now knowing on this side of it, very overstimulated. My nervous system was completely out of whack. And I just kept going, trying to force better, better, better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
That's who
that's
I,
something that most of us can really relate to, is that the overdoing it.
yeah. Yeah, and I think I mean my role as a mom, I really took it like it was my job. And um I ran with that to make sure I was the best I could be in scheduling all their stuff and handling everything and making our home so that my husband could just come home and not have to worry about anything other than his job of working, and my job was navigating everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
incredibly
Yeah.
overstimulated and irritated.
Oh, I know that one all too well. So take me through the moment where you decided to come into the sacred synthesis and explore a Jaguar Light Wand ceremony.
Well, you know, I was thinking about that as we were deciding to talk. I don't think my husband and I really knew what we were doing or what we were even getting into. Um, we had relocated from Idaho to Texas, and before we relocated in October of 2024, um, in the middle of our move to Texas, our son was killed on his dirt bike, um, just a couple blocks from our home. He had just gone to do one more ride before we were gonna go get a dessert and celebrate my birthday. Um, Anyway, and so we decided to reload. Yeah, we decided to relocate to Texas because that was the goal and a dream for us to be here. We really wanted to be in Texas. And I don't even really know why. It just was the warm weather. It, I think, is what was the pull initially. Um, and so when we got here in November of 2024, we found a therapist, Jacqueline Campbell, and we started doing intensive therapy with her, uh, together as a couple and individually. And she also, my daughter, at the time was 13. And so she started helping our family. And then, you know, Dan was my husband. He was like, you know, we should do some psychedelic therapy. We should do ketamine. We should. And to be honest, I had never my whole life experienced something like the death of my son. And I had experienced some really hard challenges growing up as a kid and as a young adult. And this one, I didn't think I was coming back from. And if I didn't have my daughter, I would have been okay letting go. Um, anyway, so we found this therapist, and she said, "Oh, by the way, I know this man named Ben, and he does, you know, psychedelic journeys, and you should reach out to him." Um, and so I did, and it just so happened within a couple of weeks. I mean, like I think a week, 2 weeks, he was going to be doing a ceremony. And like I said, I don't even think, I just was like, yeah, it's 5 meal. And but that's me. I don't really research much. I trust that who I pull into my life is then gonna put me in front of what I need to be put in front of. And I don't know if Dan researched it either, but yeah, we show up at this ceremony and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot more than I expected. And at the same time, I don't know what I expected, right? Um, so that's what led us to our first experience with the 5-MeO. And I remember for me, um, like, well, I mean, I had definitely had an awesome experience with you. And then I remember when after after I was able to let go of that fear and the other things that needed to release in my body, and I laid back down, my husband, he said to me, "He's right here, Mama." And at that time, I think we were at 7 months without him. And I remember feeling him more than I'd ever felt him since his accident. And I heard him say to me, "This, Mama, this." And so I just allowed myself to be in this. And I think he was showing me his world. Yeah. And it was amazing. And when we drove home from there, I think it was that day, uh, my husband said, "I think you're supposed to work with Cynthia." And I was like, "Yeah, I got that feel too." Um, and that we just kind of was like, poof. Um, and it was very interesting. I remember as we left, Ben saying to us, you could do individual sessions, just the two of you could do a session. And so we decided to do that again. I don't recall either of us knowing what the hell we were even going to do. We just had met these two magical people that I think both Dan and I felt could help us move through this horrific experience. And it feels like horrific doesn't even touch on it. Yeah. So then the big ceremony came.
Yeah, you call it big medicine. I'm like, that's very accurate.
Yeah, neither of us knew what we were getting into then
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Um, but when I sat down to hold space for Dan in his bofu experience, um, my body knew something that I had forgotten. And for whatever reason, I just trusted that. And the more that I have worked with the sacraments and you, I trust, and also our previous therapist, Jacqueline, she would say to us all the time, the body knows what to do. The nervous system knows what to do. Just, I felt like I just had to get out of the way, which feels now more like the ego, asking it and my protectors to step aside and allow this healing to come. Because I don't want to live in this world, a miserable being, without my child. Because I have a child that is so precious and needs me, and I need me to be able to be with that child. Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
Feel a loss of words right now for the beauty of your expression and the honesty of your experience. And I think most people are called to psychedelics for a couple different reasons, but most people it feels like they're called there, they're beckoned in for deep radical healing, transformation of mindset, a deeper connection with themselves and with a higher power. And it's interesting that you bring forward that moment during your private bufo ceremony where your body started doing things that your mind, the egoic self had forgotten. And I remember watching you. I'm like, oh, okay, another priestess.
I was
Yeah.
like, I remember looking at you and you're like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I was like, okay, this is weird. But everything became weird after Brock died. Um, died seems so, I don't know that it doesn't, I don't know that that describes it well, but everything became weird. So I think I was open to anything. Yeah. Yeah. And we had, I mean, Dan and I had played with psychedelics for giggles and fun. Um, in the past, but never as a healing journey. And so that I didn't even know what we were really doing. But again, like I said, I just trust that. Yeah.
It's so interesting that we've heard that story from a few people that are they're like, yeah, back earlier days or even more recently before some really significant event happened, they were taking the party approach, and I hold reverence for all the different approaches,
Yeah.
right? But there is something about coming into these experiences with an intention, with an openness to not just have an experience, but to allow the light to shine through where the wound is, kind of like that Rumi quote. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, psychedelics in the past were really giggly fun. And not that I don't look forward to that experience again. Um, but this I have definitely used as a sacred medicine. And I mean, because really my intention, and once I found that with the five Mio, um, and what I have recently learned through other, ceremonies with the five meal is I am always searching for Brock. So my intention with every ceremony is to connect with him. Um, and it was the last ceremony that I realized, oh, just allow this body to heal and it will guide you where you need to. And he will be with me in the ceremony before and after, that there is no separation. It's just a lowering maybe of my vibration that I'm not always able to feel him in the way that I'd like to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm constantly
Yeah.
raise it up, mama, raise it up.
Yeah, of course. And I feel like I can say this because of the depth of our relationship, but that's kind of what I've witnessed is you're seeking, you're longing, you're kind of chase is not the right word, searching and longing for that reconnection with him. And a part of my seership is like, wow, what a sacred spirit that he is to lead his beloved mother into higher levels of truth
Yeah,
that is her. And of course your life overstimulated your nervous system, getting the kids here and there. I'm sure, and even in the challenges, was really, really beautiful and special. And I can't imagine that losing a child would ever be the thing that anybody would want to catalyze them into their truth. That's just, what the soul's journeys decided upon would be best. And where I applaud you is that you've never stopped climbing and exploring yourself and evolving into the truest for version of you. And like I see Brock there with you and like, come on mama,
yeah,
and I'd never heard what you just shared now, in regards to, he's there before, during, and after. It's just the frequency that I am at to be able to sense into. And that's where I think working with silomethoxin and 5-MeO specifically can be really beautiful, because it helps us get rid of, like, dump some of the trash out of our nervous system so that we can start to come into higher levels of frequency or connection that can be really beautiful and special.
yeah.
So other than just like, I think with the sacraments, you've worked with the five of obviously the Jaguar Light one, and maybe methoxin,
Well, I'm
right?
glad you brought that up because if I go back, so when we went to do the both, say that for me.
Bufo.
Bufo. Okay, so when we went to do that, one of the recommendations that you and Ben had said is to, to go off your what was my medications that I was taking and what might stop the experience or limit the experience. And I was like, oh, that is not, I am not limiting. Um, and so I took myself off my antidepressant and um, and was nervous about that because were and are still very much in our grief. And I was nervous about what that bottom would feel like without it. Um, and then instead of going back on it, I started using the Sila. Say that again.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and I call it my sprinkle because I was able to measure my own self, and I need like I take 1/16 of a teaspoon, which is so insignificant of amount, and yet I I feel it in my body raise my vibration. Um, and even if I'm not tuned in enough that day, I can feel like the yeah, it's almost like a pull, like it pulls me a little bit higher. Um, yeah, I think it just makes my world a little brighter so that I
Mhm.
can find the joy that I'm seeking. Yeah. And I've never stopped taking it since. So it's been a year and I haven't gone back on the antidepressant. Even with my med manager when she was like, whoa, like I'm okay. I haven't, and to be honest, I haven't shared with her what I am doing or taking because I know that wouldn't be welcomed.
Right. It's so interesting that that I get why that happens.
Yeah.
Um, um, ha- I won't bring my politics into it. I think there's a time and a place for
Yeah.
everything. Absolutely. I've been somebody who had to be on anxiety medicine at one point. I felt like I was going to die. I was
Yeah.
having such crazy amounts of anxiety several years ago and consciously took some from time to time. And thank God, like it
Yeah.
helped me get back to a place of regulation where I could look at my life clearly or more clearly and start to make decisions aligned with my highest good, not with
Yeah.
a totally spun out, contorted viewpoint of the world. So very thankful for
Same.
that experience. Um, However, I'm really excited about the way in which we've witnessed silomethoxin specifically. Well, both of the sacraments, but 5-MeO, or excuse me, silomethoxin on like a daily basis.
Mhm.
How beautiful it can be, and I work with it daily. Like I have a coyote cacao almost every day. If not, I have a silo cap. But outside of like the sacraments and things, like what do you feel like um, has like shifted in your day-to-day practices? Are you doing anything different than what you did prior to maybe Brock's accident to kind of come into regulation and just into a higher level of joy for yourself?
Yes, most definitely. Um, I can't recall when the school community was created. Um, but um, I had done a couple other ceremonies, not in person. I did them online with the church. Um, and I had started prior to that I was doing guided meditations, just like a 5 to 10 minute chakra clearing guided meditation. I had a friend reach out and offer me Reiki energy, which was a reminder for me that I had taken a class in Reiki, I don't know, 27 years ago or more. And I had forgotten, oh yeah, I do Reiki. I forgot that. Um, and there's been lots of nudges. So clearing, not, but self processing with, I use brain spotting, and then my guided meditations. Um, that was my daily ritual. I think if I had something that needed to process, or if I found another guided meditation, I would do that as well. Um, and then when I think about, I think it was probably about 16 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer. You had opened up the school community and you were going to be teaching a workshop, a container. And I was like, yep, I'm in. I had no idea. Really, I didn't even I didn't even read what you were going to do or anything. Anywho, but by being in that container, by learning the tools, um, my daily routine is very different now. I now have devoted altars in my home. I I clear the energy in my home. I clear my energy daily and nightly, sometimes more than a couple times. Um, I sit in front of my altar. I do a pitcha kriya every day, and then I mean, sprinkled in on days that I don't too. But I have started devoting where before I looked at it as ritualistic. I needed to meditate and process to be able to stay here in this world uh, and navigate all the pain that I was in. And now I have taken that, and the pain is still there. And I hold it preciously. Um, and now it's interesting because before I used to think like you either were sad or happy, and you had to you couldn't have sad and happy. And now I know that I can hold them both, the sadness and the joy, and equally experience them both at the same time. But I use my rituals of the Pitcha Kriya and the other work that I have learned through being in the container with you to ground me into this world so that I can be here. Yeah, the pain is still there, but I have a little more joy that pulls me forward. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Thank you. I am so grateful that Dan and I found you and Ben. And when I speak of Ben, I feel like this I call it big brother energy, and I have never felt that before. And it is beautiful to be held by. Yeah, we're just I speak for Dan too, just so grateful for these little bright shiny people that had no idea who was sitting before them, and you and Ben were like, yeah, of course we'll help you. And here comes our bag of shit.
Oh, I got one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, for anyone who's like a new member, just, starting to get familiar with the community, with psychedelics, or even with specifically these sacraments, do you have any thoughts or perspectives that you think would be of value for them to tune into?
um yeah, if it was me giving the advice, I would say oh, I just got a little vision of like someone standing at the edge of the cliff and just diving and soaring. I would I would do it all. I would try everything and see what works for you and what doesn't. Because if you stay on the other side of it and don't try it because of fear, you're not going to benefit and feel the exquisiteness of truly being in this being and the light that can explode from you. Yeah. and I wouldn't miss. I wouldn't miss. Yeah. And it may be too much for some, but if you don't try it, you don't know. And I often think to myself, what would I have been like trying this without having um, Brock dying? I'm sure it would have tremendously changed my family. And me. Um, but that's not my journey. Yeah, I would jump. That's what I would do.
Thank you for sharing that perspective. I'm sure you've heard us say this over and over again. Like, we are of the belief that everyone is their own healer. Some
Yeah.
people just need some guidance and nudging and some training around how to work with certain tools and energies and understanding of their human energy vehicle and these very sacred sacraments so that they have less resistance, more trust, and can do that kind of
Yeah.
swan dive
Yeah.
that you describe over the cliff into the surrendered state that I think many times our spirit, unity consciousness divine, our beloveds who've passed on are trying to pull us into. They're
Yeah.
like, just fucking surrender,
Yeah.
and the more we resist, the
Yes.
harder it becomes. And that's where the surrender or the suffering really comes from. And it's fear. It's all fear, but there's something so deliciously erotic when you finally like let go to
Yeah.
be like, whoa, here we are. And when you said that light bursting out, that's really how I feel in those moments. And I'm very type A, so it takes a minute for me to surrender, but it
Yeah.
is so.
Yeah. I mean, I know after the Bofu, um, I've heard in my mind often, just let go, just let go. And it it's like physically, I have to almost physically unleash whatever that is on me that's stopping me. The fear. The fear. It's just fear. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really practice for people to really lean into in their own
Yeah.
certain way. I was seeing like it's one of those like torture. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
Yeah,
They're
yes,
like
yes. Like a
boxes that have like
vice.
yes, 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 or
Yes.
even like a straight jacket. You're like you gotta unbuckle your straight jacket. But like unclip, 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 and actually like let the true self, right, which is a connection point of your human self, your egoic self, and then like your God self come together and like really be in the present delicious moment.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And
Well,
hard
Bryn,
and rough and all the things.
yeah, for sure, for sure, and like I totally relate to what you shared regarding like yes, there's pain, and I'm holding it with reverence and the truth of what it is, but I'm also allowing myself to have joy and other experiences and all of it together. So it's not just you're happy or you're sad. You can be a combination of two. And like in the wheel of friendship or relationship or work or personal love, it can be really great. But there could be this wheel of suffering for
Yeah.
a couple over here, right? And challenge. And it's just like looking at all of them for what they are, which is divine guidance for us to continue to ascend
Yeah.
into the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
Well, Bryn, do you have any last words that you'd like to share before we bid adieu?
No, I think I feel complete. Other than if anybody feels so called to need to hear whatever it is that I have to offer, I definitely would lend that to somebody. I don't know how to express that maybe. Um, but I'm here if you need me. Yeah. 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 Mm. Oh, thank you. Same. Yeah, I think I said to you, I've been waiting for you. Yeah.
Thank you. And to everybody who tuned in to this beautiful story of Bryn's, I just want to say thank you and remind you that everyone has a story. We at the Sacred Synthesis absolutely want to hear from you, whether it's um, through a testimonial or a private email, or if you want to actually share your story in this format, the way that Bryn does, please let us know. You can message us on school, or you can also send an email to info at the Sacred Synthesis. We would be so overjoyed to witness your story and to share it as it is fit for you. And again, just want to thank you, Bryn, for being here
Oh,
and just sending you so
I am
much
so
love.
honored that you asked me. And I'm glad that I didn't let my nervous ego stop me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what we can like kind of leave on this point, I think, but sometimes the ego tells us, like, what do I have to say? How will I say it? I've never done anything like this before, or a multitude of stories, right? People will see this. But here's the thing is the more that we can stand in our truth and not be afraid to share the pearlescent, beautiful light that's within us, because it just wants to come forward, the higher levels of impact we can have because you never know
Yeah.
who is listening and what might be very small for you to say could be huge for them.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing,
Thank
Bryn.
you for having me. I appreciate you very much. I love you. I love you.
I, I love you.